feel like on most seasons of Love is Blind, there seems to be this theme of a woman accepting second chance love. Often there are situations where the man clearly wanted one woman, the woman rejected him, and now he's gone to the second option. And a lot of the time, the second option would be questioning, thinking, saying, I don't want to be the second option. And the man would be lying, talking about, no, you're not my second option, you're my number one, like blah, 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 blah. Now, this season, we saw it happen again, but this time the woman stood on business and she said, no, I'm not going to be your second option. I'm not going to be your default, period. Period, Meg. I was so proud. I saw the situation play out this season with Meg, Mason, and Madison. Yes, 3 M's. The alliteration. They were in this love triangle. Mason was telling Madison and Meg pretty much the same things, but he was very elusive, very shady. Like when both of them are kind of asking for reassurance, he wasn't giving it. But in my opinion, it seemed like he was gravitating more towards Madison. Even though I feel like he and Meg were a better match, more compatible, I feel like his energy was drawn more towards Madison. And I feel like that's because I think he perceived Madison to be more attractive because she had this cool girl, artsy vibe. And I'm pretty sure Madison, probably hyped up her looks as well, because there were other conversations that I saw with her and another person where she was basically saying that she had a glow up and, people are interested in her because she's the pretty girl. So I feel like Mason was definitely more drawn to Madison. He basically said that he was going to make a commitment to her. But then when he didn't break it off with Meg, Madison was like, okay, I'm standing on business. I'm breaking up with you. And he tried to flip it like, oh, I shouldn't have said that. I felt pressured, blah, blah, blah. But then Madison lets it slip that she was talking to Meg and that he might have lost both of them. And the way that Mason's eyes bulged out of his head when he heard that Meg and Madison have spoken together to compare notes. And like I said, this man, what he was saying was not believable. He's saying that he wants her so bad with like the most deadpan voice. It seemed like this whole situation had drained him. Maybe it would have been more believable. He was begging and pleading, saying, Meg, please, 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 please. I want to hear the crying. I want to hear the snot in your nose. We didn't get none of that. Like, even the begging was half-assed. He's trying to rack his brain thinking about how he's going to spin this situation around. And his whole thing was trying to be like, oh, he said the wrong thing, he made the wrong decision, and that Meg is like the best girl for him in his life. He'd be so lucky to have her, blah, blah, blah. But the performance just was not believable, and Meg wasn't buying it. So she stood on business and was like, you know what? I don't know if what you're saying is true. I can't verify that. And I kind of wanted a situation where you were decisive and you picked me. And now that Madison is out of the picture, that option is no longer viable. So therefore, I'm not going to take my chances when I feel so uneasy about the situation. And after, I feel like he basically confirmed, like, yeah, he did. He was feeling Madison a bit more after Meg had broke it up. And again, after she said, it's over, he didn't really beg and plead. He just said, like, I wish you the best. Like, anyone who has you will be lucky. So yeah, he didn't even want her like that. And that's why you should stand on business and not be the second choice. Don't spin the block. I'm not a fan of second chance. I'm not a fan of spinning the block. Now, some of these second chance marriages that I've seen on Love is Blind, they're still married. They're still going strong. It's worked out for them. But personally, for me, I'm not an advocate of it. I'm not a fan of it. Just because I feel like it never ends well. It never ends well. And I feel like the guy's just always going to be thinking about the one that got away. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Especially if they're coming empty-handed. If they're coming with something, take what they give you and disappear. But I've got to hear from you guys. Do you feel like Meg should have given Mason a chance, see where it went, got that free inclusive holiday, then made her decision? Or do you feel like, yes, she was right to stand on business? And what do you think about Mason in this situation? Was he just conflicted? Did he get too lost in the sauce? Or do you feel like he just liked having 2 girls to kind of play with and, he thought he could take the piss a little bit and it folded on him? Let me know what you guys think.